After recording yesterday's video, I had another realization, which I've kind of already had, but it was just on a deeper level. And like I've mentioned before, I notice this happens so often, finding these new deeper levels of programming or deeper levels of remembrance as we move forward on our ascension journey. And so what came to me was that the whole concept that something is wrong is an illusion. And let that really sink in. The concept that anything is wrong is an illusion. And here's why. It's because our higher self, which is our true self, has never seen anything as wrong. Seen it all as perfect as it is. The creation that everything is helping everything else on their spiritual path. So this whole idea of wrong, it's so permeated into humanity. And it's interesting because a lot of people will say they're not religious and all this stuff, but then they'll go on to talk about things that are wrong and evil and all this stuff. But that all came from religion. The whole concept of wrong was just to control people, to put fear into them, so that they could be manipulated. And so this was just another layer for me. And of course, I know that wrong is just judgment, and judgment is not true. But I just felt it on a whole new level. Like anything that nothing is wrong, that anything that one might think is wrong is not. And the interesting thing is that I've shared this program that I've been working through, that it's like constantly scanning for like threats. And also I realized the other part of it is it's always scanning for something that's wrong. Yet there's nothing wrong. It's all helping us. So that was like, made that program completely obsolete and helped me bring down a layer. So I felt this realization helped bring down layers of programs, but also layers of remembrance, to see all as innocent, all as source. Because when one sees anything as wrong, that must mean that we have internalized that there is something wrong with us. That is the only way we can see something outside of us as wrong, is if we have internalized that there is something wrong with us. That we have believed in the guilt, which is an illusion. And when we think of it, anything we say is wrong is making it guilty. And whenever we make anything guilty, we are choosing to be the victim instead of acknowledging that we are a creator. So what I realize is that these people that are walking around with this hidden anger, this guilt and fear that's been piled up, that they believe there's something wrong with them, or likely many things, as this was one of the big awakenings I first had when I awoken. I used to, for my whole life, I thought there was all this stuff wrong with me. And that was one of the biggest awakenings I had. I was like, there's nothing wrong with me. Oh my gosh. And is one thing I want all humans to know, is that everyone is perfect as they are. Everyone is a unique aspect of source energy. There is nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with anyone. Everyone is just on a journey that is helping everyone else. And so there's a whole thing about when we think something's wrong, we internalize that there's something wrong with us. So the hidden anger, when we operate from that, we are saying that there's something wrong with us, and that we have chosen to believe that we are the victim. And thus, whenever we choose to believe we are a victim, we are choosing to be powerless. So no wonder this hidden anger is rampant. But this helped me bring so much compassion when I see these people that are operating in this way. Because you probably found this channel because you're very sensitive to energies like I am, and you can feel this. And that's why, at least for me, I spent my whole life walking on eggshells around other humans, because I could feel how emotionally volatile they are, and how anything, little thing, could trigger them into some sort of fearful emotion. And then them putting that guilt on me, and I was just tired of feeling guilty and didn't want to feel guilt, because it's not in alignment. I just hadn't connected the dots. I had no idea how it all came together. And that's what I've been finding out in these last 6 years since awakening. And so we can have so much compassion for others, knowing that so many humans that are operating in this way, they think there's something wrong with them, and they believe they're the victim, and thus they believe they're powerless. No wonder they're angry. And so I was like, wow. After I had this realization, and it also helped me feel so relaxed, because when nothing is wrong, all worry and anxiety go out the window. And I used to be filled with worry and anxiety, and I've been working through that on my journey, and I've come very, very, very far. But this was just the next thing to make me feel even more free, more peace, more relaxed. Because when there's nothing wrong with anything that's going to happen, how can we worry about anything that's going to happen? If literally everything that happens to us is to make our life better, the worry becomes, well, it is an illusion. So there's that. And then anxiety is just compound worry, over amplified, exaggerated. And so I was like, wow, when we don't see anything wrong with anything, the peace. And it feels so good to see the future, because you know that nothing wrong is going to happen. And someone may say, oh, well, what about if I heard about this guy and he shot someone else, and isn't that wrong? And what I would say is that you're looking at it through a very human perspective. And if we see the spiritual perspective, no one just dies. When we pass away, our soul and higher self, that was the best possible situation for us. And what these people aren't seeing, that are making guilty and calling it wrong, is that maybe the person who passed away, their higher self found the perfect life for them to awaken in, but they had to pass away now so that they could be born into this new body to live on this new life that was just going to could change the world. And so actually the murder is actually helping the entire planet. That's just one thing. And of course, when someone commits an act of violence like this, there's always an outpouring of love and compassion, and people just feel more like themselves when they feel this love, and so it's zooming out to see the bigger picture, and that there's always a purpose to everything. There's always a spiritual reason that things happen, and that things are actually always working out for the best. Because if that person, if their time was not to die, they would have ducked to pick up something, or they would have gone somewhere else that day. Or you can read countless stories of people who something happened and they didn't pass away in different ways. And so we have to trust that whatever happens for the benefit of the whole. Another thing is souls will often choose to pass away in these dramatic ways to spark social change. And wow, like, and so it is all for the benefit of everyone. So we can really strip back this thing of being wrong and realize this whole concept of wrong is an illusion in itself. And this yesterday was so profound for me to realize this hidden anger and connect all these dots. And last night I had major catharsis, which to me lets me know I've made like a real leap, energetically, vibrationally. And this happens when I have these type of realizations. And it can also even happen after witnessing like a light language activation and cool different things like this. But what happens for me when I go through this catharsis is that I wake up in the night and I'm so thirsty, and I basically drink a ton of water, and then I go pee, and then I go back to sleep, and then I wake up another half an hour or hour later and do that all through the night. So basically it's like flushing the system out of this energy, and we move old energies out through our urine, our other things, mucus, sweat, all of this. So I just felt called to share that. It's maybe that you have experienced this and you think, oh, there's something wrong with me. But no, there's nothing wrong with you. This is a natural process that is helping you, and your body is always assisting you. And it's helping to move the old out so that you can basically recalibrate to this new vibration. And that is that. And yeah, so it's been a big couple days, and I'm just so thankful. Another amazing thing that happened yesterday was after I recorded the video, there was a big rainstorm, and I always see the rain as very cleansing, and I thought, oh, this is so nice. Even though I wasn't outside, I really felt it was a metaphor for being cleansed from the illusions, and understanding that this whole concept of wrong was just created basically to control people. And because once we come back to ourselves, once we reconnect to ourself, our true self, and we listen to our inner guidance, and this is the trajectory of humanity, because we're all on an ascension path. although many are unconscious right now, more and more are becoming conscious. And as more and more of us start listening to the guidance from within and the guidance that's all around us, we will realize that we didn't need this whole idea of right or wrong. And we can literally rise above duality. And this is where we are headed. Because we all have a unique path. We all have unique experiences. I have had so many experiences in my life where I felt like a victim. I felt I was wronged. I felt betrayed. And yet now, with my new perspective since awakening, I've been able to look back on every one of those experiences and alchemize it, and to see the spiritual perspective of actually the purpose involved and how that benefited me and how that actually was helping me. And so this can be done with anything in our lives. All it takes is a willingness, introspection, and of course, forgiveness is very helpful for our human self. And our higher self, our true self, has never made guilty, so it never has felt the need to forgive. But for our human self, we have made guilty. And so it's very important that we forgive ourselves and others for anything that we felt guilt about. And this frees us. It's not for the other people, it's for you. It frees you so that you can rise above it and see it with gratitude. Because once you see the true purpose and how it was actually assisting you, you will come to just the natural state of gratitude and thankfulness that occurred in your life, because you'll see how it did nudge you in the best direction for you. And the more you do this, the more you will see that literally everything that we experience is worthy of gratitude, and that we can make gratitude our default response. Instead of looking for what's wrong, instead of looking for threats, we can make gratitude our response. And when we make gratitude our response, we come into our center, and then we have clarity. And then that's when the downloads, the information, the insights can drop in, and the reminders, and we can move forward with much more ease and effortlessness. So that would be what I have come to learn in my experience has helped me profoundly, is looking at everything with gratitude. Even if it's really difficult at the beginning, but be grateful knowing that it is benefiting you, because everything benefits you and benefits us as a whole population. So yes, I feel like I will leave it there. And if you would like some help with seeing some higher perspectives, you can always reach out to me, and I do one-on-ones, and that information is in the description box below. All right, I send you much love and joy on your journey today, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.